Good morning, my friends. Welcome to Roger's Reflections on Friday, September 11th in the year 2020. I love how God works behind the scenes. And that was one of those things really that God is doing in the picking of these psalms. I basically have started with Psalm 1 and kind of read through, and then when something kind of grabs my attention, I stop, reflect on it, and share that with you. And so I don't do every psalm. I don't do all the psalms, but I kind of go through and read. And today, I'm reading from the 77th Psalm, and I'll be reading verses 1 through 15. And I find it entirely appropriate that this psalm is to be reflected upon on September 11th. It's been 19 years, my friends. I still remember the moment I was at Emory University Hospital going to visit a member of my church at the time, and I remember one of the ladies in the church calling me and telling me about the Twin Towers. And I remember going, I don't even remember who I went to visit. I remember going and sitting in one of the waiting rooms and watching the TV with people all around me, and all of us just sitting there shocked and just overwhelmed. That's one of those feelings that you always remember, one of those places you always knew when and where you were when it happened. And so listen to these words. I find it appropriate that these are the words for September 11th, because I think there were many that felt this way immediately after the events of that day. I cry aloud to God, that he may hear me. In the day of my trouble, I seek the Lord. In the night, my hand is stretched out without wearying. My soul refuses to be comforted. I think of God and I moan. I meditate and my spirit faints. You keep my eyelids from closing. I am so troubled that I cannot speak. I consider the days of old and remember the years of long ago. I commune with my heart in the night and meditate and search my spirit. Will the Lord spurn forever, never again be favorable? Has his steadfast love ceased forever? Are his promises at an end for all time? Has God forgotten to be gracious? Has he in anger shut up his compassion? And I say, it is my grief that the right hand of the Most High has changed. I will call to mind the deeds of the Lord. I will remember your wonders of old. I will meditate on all your work and muse on all your mighty deeds. Your way, O God, is holy. What God is so great as our God? You are the God who works wonders. You have displayed your might among the peoples. With your strong arm, you have redeemed your people, the descendants of Jacob and Joseph. The first part of this is really what kind of grabbed my attention today. He really, the psalmist is like, God, I don't get it. Why? Sometimes you just want to scream out, why, God? Why did this have to happen? Why did this, I don't get it. And I think this, on September 11th, there were many people 19 years ago who were screaming out, why? Why did you allow this to happen? There's almost an accusation there against God, wasn't there? Why? Lord, I don't get it. I don't know. I feel like at this point in time, you're not listening to anything. I'm not getting any comfort. I'm not getting anything. And so he is really in a very, very deep pit of despair. And then it turns. Now, if you read the rest of the psalm, he doesn't get an immediate answer to his cry. But what does happen is he remembers the deeds and the love of God that existed before the events that caused him to wonder. He remembers all that God had done before. And so as he was struggling with his faith, He remembered the deeds of faith that had occurred. He remembered the stories of faith. He remembers the stories of God. He goes back and kind of reminds himself that I may not see him right now, but I know he has been here. I know what he has done. I know how he has blessed Israel in the midst of all the things that Israel has gone through, in the midst of horrible days gone by. God protected us. God took us out of Egypt. God made us a people. And so even though we don't get resolution, really, we don't get that to his cries for help. But what we do get is a reminder that God is here, and God is in the midst of our horror, in the midst of our sorrow, in the midst of our suffering, in the midst of our wondering why. We have proof, we have examples of how God has responded in years past, in events past. And we may not know what the resolution will be. It may be too soon. But we know that God will answer because God has answered. That is the good news. That's something we can count on. And it may not come in the time that we want it to come, but we know it will come because it has come before, to people before, to folks of faith before. That's some good news. And that's some news that we need. Maybe now we need it. Lord, why are we so divided? Why are we so angry? Why are we just, Lord, why? Why? Why don't you fix things? Why don't you come and make yourself known? Why are we having to wait? But then we're reminded, Lord, you responded before. You responded to Moses. You responded to Isaiah. You responded to Peter. You responded to Paul. You responded. And we know you will respond to us. Thank you, Lord. I might not know the answer to my problem right now, but I know who does hold the answer and who will answer. Thanks be to God. We'll talk to you tomorrow, my friends.